What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Square Circle Podcast. I'm your host, Marie Shadows, and I have the lovely, awesome ass kicker of the United Empire, Aaron Henare. Aaron Henare, how is it, man? How are you doing?
Kia ora, good morning. I'm pretty rocked up, and not from the matches. It's from the flights. I've been for the last 2 months now. It's been non-stop traveling. So I'm sorry for being late. I was just knocked out cold from the
I mean, it's all
sleeping.
good. Yeah, of course. It's all good because I work with a lot of wrestlers like, behind the scenes and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
created this thing of like, wrestlers run on their own time. So I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm so used to it, by the way. But yeah, before I jump into like all of my notes, AEW Dynamite had the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb show up and beat up FTR and Rocky and Trent. And I fucking love that. Like, what are your like initial thoughts?
I had no idea. So they were sending me pictures of Okan eating some like famous Las Vegas burger. I was like, what the hell? Like that guy's in Japan because we haven't seen each other for a few weeks now. So after the Philadelphia show, that was the last time we saw each other. So they sent me the picture of Oka in Las Vegas. I looked at it, like, what the hell? Then I checked out Twitter, and then you just see Oka slamming him through the table and Jeff powerbombing the guy. Long time coming. Jeff would have been smashing AEW if it weren't for the pandemic anyway. So it's supposed to be, put it that way.
Yeah, man. I was just saying to myself and saying to my chat that like if you didn't pop up, I was like, yo, if Henare shows up on Dynamite, like I wouldn't be upset. Like I would just be like marking out the same way that I marked out with them and whatnot. Eventually it'll happen.
No, sorry,
You know.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just asleep. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. You're good. You're good. So yeah, I guess let's jump into like, humble beginnings. Because I really wanted to talk about New Zealand. Since like, I think watching the New Japan documentary series of like Lions War was like, New Zealand is freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
So like I guess, what's the main difference that you see between like New Zealand, Japan, and now America?
You mean in wrestling wise or just general society?
However you want to answer it, general or wrestling, doesn't really matter.
Wrestling wise, there's not very much there at all. We're a rugby nation, so if you're not a rugby player, a boxer, or a kickboxer, it's pretty much pointless because those are the only real sports that we play. As well as like I don't know if you know what cricket is.
Yeah,
Cricket and
a little bit.
the big sports. So in terms of wrestling, there's not much there, but there is a small scene which I was a part of for about 8 years before going to the UK. So there's not much opportunity. It's pretty much the guys that try and keep trying. They eventually make it somewhere. But 99% of people don't really do anything because they don't know the opportunities there. In terms of society, it's really chill. Like I thought New Zealand was stressful, and then when I got to Japan, America, UK, I'm like, wow, the whole world's so stressed about nothing. New Zealand's really chill. So that's, half the reason why you don't see many New Zealand wrestlers around the world is because New Zealand is too chill. So it's just people hanging out in a forest next to a beach, just lying down. That's pretty much New Zealand. Hobbits,
Yeah.
they're just hobbits, just chilling, drinking. But there are the people that do go out. There's so from the top of the list is Dakota Kai from WWE.
Yeah.
Fale, Jay, and then I was after that. And there are a few independent guys, Niwa and TK Cooper in the UK. So there's not many of us, but the ones that are out there are doing real well.
Yeah, I really do enjoy the fact that, New Zealanders are like traveling out and coming into wrestling and, just showing off like what they can do and stuff. So, after you're done with like a Japan tour and you go back home to New Zealand, other than visiting your family, what's like the first thing do you do? Do you grab like your favorite snack, cook your favorite food, go to like a favorite activity?
I run away to the countryside because if you've seen the Kiwi countryside, there's nothing. It's just
Yeah.
forest, mountains, and Lord of the Rings. You've seen Lord of the Rings. It's just
Yep.
that. I just pick the most what's the word, isolated spot and go there and just run away from people. Because most of the time, apart from that, I'm in Tokyo, which is just super dense. There's people everywhere. So I just like to get away and then find some activities like horse riding or archery or axe throwing, something like that. I just like keep physically grounded because being a wrestler, you could get caught up in all the, the lights and the smoke and mirrors, as they say, which a lot of people do. They forget to be grounded in the real world, but I like to ground myself. Beaches, rivers, and forests is what I like. So
That
if
sounds
you
perfect.
picture that hermit lifestyle, that's what I do when I'm back home.
Yeah, man, that's perfect. All right. So, you debuted in professional wrestling in 2010, right?
It was actually before that, but I don't like to admit it.
All right. So,
So
we'll keep it. You want to keep it 2010?
that's okay. The real date was 2007, but I didn't get paid for the first time until 2010. So it's three
Oh,
years
okay.
of not do the set everything up, the ring, set the lights, everything before the show.
Hmm.
I did that years before I received my first dollar. And that was for a company called IPW, which is the company that I met Bad Luck Fale at. And
Oh, okay.
so after his excursion in St. Louis, Missouri, I believe, he came back to New Zealand and started coming to the trainings. And then eventually I started training with him. And then that's how I got into New Japan.
Interesting. Which I wanted to talk a little bit about IPW. What are like your memories from it? Just in case, I know my fans probably don't know about it. So, like, what kind of good memories do you have?
It was pretty good. Like, it was one of the first independent companies to get a TV deal, but there were some legal problems that happened which stopped it from going any further. But we were getting paid, and I was making a pretty decent. I was making maybe $500 a week, which is unheard of in New Zealand.
Yes.
I was the first guy to start doing like posters and T-shirts and stuff. And then Fale saw that, and he was like, "Wow, this guy's actually hustling," which is why he backed me and put my name forward for New Japan. So there weren't
Hmm.
people. There's not many people that make that much money in New Zealand. But yeah, it was real good. When the management changed, all the TV deals and all the big events started falling away. So we had to go look for work outside.
Okay, okay, cool. So yeah, I have in my notes that you created Warrior Wrestling Academy, and I wanted to
Yeah,
like put that over. So if you want to tell, my viewers and everyone like what that is, how they can get to the academy and all that.
yeah. So there was there was another guy called Anthony Khan. Funny enough, his name is Tony Khan. Uh, he and I went to the UK. He actually paid for my ticket to the UK because he believed that I could make it. So we traveled around the world. We went to UK, Ireland, and the USA before I came to Japan. And after all my Young Lion stuff, and after I graduated and became a full-fledged wrestler, he came to me with the idea of starting an academy so that all the Kiwi guys don't have to go outside of the country and travel in order to just get proper training. Because we were trained by a bunch of guys that just watched WWF, um, and they were just guessing everything. And it was very dangerous. They got injured all the time. But now that we went overseas, bring it all back, our theme is that if ever there's a Kiwi guy that's international that comes back home, we pay for them to come in and train the boys.
Oh.
It's sort of the alternative to the Fale Dojo, which is the 3 month.
Hmm.
Oh, this is more like weekly class, and we got a gym as well. So we get quite a few. I think we've got like 38 students at the moment, and they just keep coming through. But we started at the beginning of 2020, which, as you know, the lockdowns sort of New Zealand lockdown was the most stringent in the whole world. So it's been pretty rough, but I mean, I'd say we're probably the biggest promotion in New Zealand right now. So it's doing all right.
All right, so I, give you guys all the luck in the world, like to get that up and going and like, be out there and all that kind of stuff. So now you're in New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is amazing. You did start out as a young lion and graduated. What was, the dojo like? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it?
I loved it. I know the Americans don't really like it. But as you said, like you mentioned humble beginnings before. I come from a place I used to have to fight on the street to pay for food. So when I got to the dojo, all the food is free, the accommodation's free, the gym is free. I was like, wow, I've cracked it. Just being at the dojo. But people who didn't come up the same way I came up, like, oh, we have to do the training. Oh, this sucks. And most people quit. You probably know that 99% of people that go through the dojo quit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, guys, right? So for me, it was like, wow, this is amazing. I get to train all day with all these like Yuji Nagata, all these legends. I get to wake up, train at the New Japan dojo, eat for free, sleep in this place for free. It was amazing to me. Like it was just a huge opportunity for me. So underrated.
Yeah. Other guys would probably just be like, they hated the training and all that. And those are the stories that I mostly hear, that they hated the training. Because apparently it's like 500 squats and like all this kind of stuff. But
we were doing thousands. It's like an easy day. So I was in there with Oka, Shota, Narita, and a few other guys that quit.
Mm-hmm.
With Kawato as well. We were doing at least 1,000 a day, which is on top of weight training and conditioning like that, which is why I injured my Achilles. So all of this, more like New Japan's probably the hardest academy to get into in terms of wrestling because of that conditioning, because they're not testing how good you are yet. They're testing how much you want it, how much you want to be there, how much you want to be a wrestler. And the 1,000 squats a day, the 200 push-ups, the conditioning, that's more like a weeding out process than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I could see it too with certain guys and just like, just observe things. Yeah, I totally get that. So when you did graduate, which was, probably like the greatest feeling in the world, you came out as Toa Henare before, we got to know you as Aaron Henare. So is there any like significant meaning when you decided to do Toa Henare?
That was a office decision. Obviously, I'm proud of all the heritage and stuff. I didn't know what they wanted to do, so let me just show you. And then they were happy with it. So I kept that for as long as possible. But the thing that really got to me was just like the haka itself is real hard to do within the match because you like culturally you're not allowed to do like a short little haka. Culturally, you have to give 1,000% every time you do it. So do it in a match, just be like so tired for the next thing. Like whether I just finally got him down, I'll be like tired after I do it. So they like got to the point where I was like, oh man, this is holding me back, which I'm pretty sure you noticed as well. Quite a lot of fans noticed. But it was cool being able to actually represent my culture that way because I think to this day I'm the only signed full-time professional Māori wrestler in the entire world, which is sort of my calling card, no matter what image bring to the fans. And it was good to finally get that in a positive light. I mean, being a big baby face in New Japan. But at the same time, I thought that American fans and Japanese fans and British fans couldn't really understand the cultural aspect of it. So it didn't really take off as much as I'd like it to. In New Zealand, people understood it. Every time I do a match in New Zealand, it's sold out every time, just because they get it. So, but I wish the rest of the world understood it.
Yeah, I would say that I enjoyed it when I was going back and just watching some of your matches and like I understood it. I thought that Toa Henare was like the most fantastic name that I ever saw because like no one else had it. So
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. And then when you switch over to Aaron Henare, I was like, I'll deal with it. I just don't want to hit you with the AA run type of thing. That's why I was like, damn, why do you have to switch to Aaron, but I enjoyed it. I knew what you were doing.
The Toa in Māori, it's not really a name, it's more like a title. Toa means warrior. So like
Okay.
in the tribal sense. I think there's another Samoan guy called Toa, but that would be just a
Oh, it
title.
is. Yeah. It's Toa Leone. Yeah,
Leona,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The warrior lion.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like I remember when I saw his name, I was like, oh, maybe that's why like, Aaron Henare dropped the Toa Henare and stuff like that. But yeah, but in all honesty, like I enjoyed it. I knew what it was. And by the way, before we move on, like how do you pronounce it? Because I say Maori. Is that right?
Maori. Maori. So are you Mexican descent? No,
No.
no, sorry. Where, what's that?
I'm Puerto Rican Italian.
Puerto Rican. I mean,
Yeah.
you could pronounce it the same way that Italians and Puerto Ricans pronounce it.
Am I rolling the R? Am I doing that?
Yes, we do the exact same thing, the same pronunciation, the same as Japanese as well. The vowels a, e, I, o, u, and the rolled r.
Oh fuck
Maori.
that. I can't roll my R. I, I can't. All right, so now I know that when I practice it, I have to roll my R for it.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a few. I mean, like Taika Waititi, he's sort of bringing our culture to the mainstream, so
Uh-huh.
people are understanding it a bit more. I think the funniest thing, the biggest character that people understand Maori from is Korg from the Thor movies, the Avengers movies, the big
Really?
rock guy, because
That's
that's what a Maori.
interesting.
Usually Maoris are big giant dudes with really soft voices. Hey, bro.
Oh. Interesting. Now I gotta go. Now I gotta go study that and whatnot.
Cool.
But yeah, I would try to like pronounce it correctly because every time like I look at it and I try to pronounce it, I'm like Hinari is just gonna like tell me it's wrong.
Yeah.
But I can't roll my R. I really
The reason
can't.
the reason why the culture or the language isn't really well known is because up until 1975, it was
Hmm.
illegal to speak Maori.
Yeah.
It's like a cultural, like a structural disintegration of the culture and language. So Japan giving me the chance to bring it to the forefront, like quite deep, meaningful to me,
Hmm.
just because of our cultural history and how much the crown was trying to subdue our culture. Still here.
Yeah, man. Still, you're still alive and kicking, and all that. But yeah, so I guess we can move further down the timeline of you in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So on January 27th, this should have been like maybe a Wrestle Kingdom, or probably not. No, it's past Wrestle Kingdom. You teamed up with Makabe and Taguchi to take on Fale, Tamatanga, and Tangaloa. How did that feel, and like what do you remember from it?
That would have been Hokkaido, right? I think that was Hokkaido.
Are you talking about the place?
Yeah. I think that was a big, giant one.
I
I
have
think that
no
was
idea.
the first big match. I didn't know it was coming. I don't know if the fans know, but I never check my matches. I find out my matches from Twitter, and you guys tagging me in the matches. So I was like, oh, it's like everybody on their first few times, they're always like nervous and stuff. So I don't think I did very well in that match because of that. Not to mention, Hokkaido is super cold, especially in
Oh, okay.
January. And if you look at me, I'm not made for the snow. So on top of that,
Good to know. If we ever get into a snowball fight, I know who I'm taking out first. uh, but yeah, unfortunately, you, Makabe, and Taguchi lost that six-man match. I was gonna say lost the belts, but I'm like, you didn't get the belts yet. Speaking of the Never Openweight Championship title, myself and another friend of mine really want to know, when are you gonna go after the Never Openweight title that Tama has?
I've been wanting it since I got here. I mean, that title, that everything it represents, the stylistic thing, that I could be versing a junior or a heavy or an in-between guy. That is the reason why I wanted to come to New Japan, specifically for that. The first match that I walked into live, so I was late to Wrestle Kingdom. It was either 10 or 11, I can't remember, or 9 even. I walked in and it was Makabe and Ishii.
Mm-hmm.
So first match that I saw physically in Japan. So I was like, nah, this is me. This is me right here. So it's what I've always wanted to do. For the last year, I've been sort of trying to figure out what I am, what I do. More so, I want to be the best version of myself before I come and get that title, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just be a guy come in and get railed, you know. But eventually, like, as you see with Jeff and Oka tonight, it's when I'm ready. Not when the fans are ready, not when my opponent's ready. The timing is everything.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Damn, it's out. But then in saying that, you know, Tom has been working, 12 years just to get that one thing. I know it's not going to take me 12 years to get it. And that's no knock on Tom.
I was going to be like, well, that's super confident. I appreciate super confident, you know, no matter what. So while we're on the subject of championships, right? So in a perfect world, because, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling no longer has the IC title, but for the sake of this question, how would you rank the titles in New Japan Pro Wrestling to like your liking?
Honestly, the IWGP World Heavyweight at the top, obviously, just because it represents the most prestigious. I know it's only been alive for just over a year now, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, the new one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the that represents before it came, which is the best. It had like the most prestigious champions, line of champions before. Under that, personally, I'd put the Never title.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe the tags, and then the US, and then the cruiserweight. Am I missing? No, I don't think I'm missing any. And then the 6-man's under that. So I think that's a logical progression as well. So if you got a guy he's got the 6-man, and then he's got the tags, and then he's got the Never, and then he's got it's like a logical, I'm very logical, rational person. So I think logical, rational progression.
I can see that. I can see how that works and work into storylines and stuff like that. Yeah. So I guess we could fast forward to 2021 because 2020, like everyone was in fucking lockdown. You know, how did you feel about being in the New Japan Cup for 2021?
It's funny you should bring up the lockdown because I'm a very unlucky person. So I was supposed to go on an excursion in 2017, but I snapped my Achilles.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have that main event singles match with Ishii in 2020, but the lockdown happened. And it was just like, and then last year I was supposed to be in the G1, but then my neck got injured. So it's just, I don't know if it's bad luck or the universe just telling me to chill, but I've always been hit with more hurdles than other people have had to do. And that's cool. I've been dealing with hurdles my whole life, but I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm not paralyzed. My face is a bit swollen, but I think my nose. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm broken right now again. But I think if it wasn't for the Achilles, if it wasn't for the pandemic, if it wasn't for my neck last year, I'd be way higher than I am now in terms of career progression. But yeah. Were you mentioning the United Empire?
Always. I always put you guys over. But I mean for like the New Japan Cup in 2021 when you fought I'm basically gonna go towards like when you fought Jay White, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously the year before I was supposed to versus Ishii. Jay, he's been on a roll. He's like the top Kiwi in the world, so the match meant a lot to me. He's someone I have a lot of respect for. Just we're the same age. He's just another Kiwi kid. We're from the same town. He's from the rich part. I'm from the poor part. But yeah, that was the main match that was like, no, something has to change. I can't keep being this guy doing what the Japanese senpais just want me to do all the time. I felt like they were holding me back, and not even from like a character standpoint, just like personally as well. It was just I couldn't get above anywhere near that. I was just there, and it was sort of annoying. And they didn't actually upload my backstage comment because I punched holes in every single wall, and to the Japanese, that's very rude. It's very offensive. So I did post a picture of my knuckles afterwards. My whole arms and my hands were all bleeding, but that was like the most emotion I've ever had before. After actually, but the fans didn't get to see that. And
I mean, go ahead.
Sorry, Will was actually behind one of those walls when I was punching it. So he was the guy there. He was filming me. And then, so he realized what I was going through, and I think he was the one that got all the guys together and then pitched me coming into United Empire, because the week after that, he took me out to dinner to tell me. I was like, yeah, man, whatever. Anything that gets me out of this, I'm going to take. It could have been probably Bullet Club. It could have been anyone, but he was the first one there. He was the first one that took the chance with me, and I think it's worked out.
It has definitely worked out 100%. And I was eventually going to get to that. I was eventually going to ask you if Will Ospreay took you out to dinner, but you know, you already said that. But I do remember that emotional promo that like you punching the wall. I do remember them putting it up. And I watched it and I commented it on my podcast and stuff like that. And I could see the hurt that you were going through. So I understood and I sympathized. And I was just like, yeah, he needs something different. And it's a good thing that Will Ospreay decided to be like, hey, you know, come out to dinner with me. Let's talk about this United Empire idea, and just getting everybody together. I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like they all fit and everything. So then, you know, after all that, you start, I guess, you know, stay in the background. New Japan is saying that there's going to be ex-member of the United Empire. And I do want to mention that, like, when I reviewed your match when you came in Sakura Genesis as, you know, Aaron Henare, the Ultimate Weapon, that has 105 plays from the time that I put it out, and you beat all of my Cody Road rants. And I think that's a very good thing to like just mention.
I love that match. I was super nervous though. I think after the match, all three of the Los Ingo guys were all injured after the match. Like, it was the first time that the fans really see me for me.
Mm-hmm.
The real like aggressive. I'm not saying I'm aggressive day to day, but like the inner me, the background of me is that's what I used to do on the streets of Auckland. I was super nervous. I think I was 144 beats per minute before the match.
Oh, damn.
So I was super nervous coming into it. One, it was the first time that Will came up to me. He was like, be you. Don't be this tall fans think you are. Don't be whoever these guys want you to. Just be you. And then that was the first time people saw me. And then other people like Jeff, they're like, oh, that's better. The fans, you know, I think after that is when the fans properly started to appreciate me for me, not me for this hacker type of guy, you know. So it's just proper. Like, I got to demonstrate more of the Muay Thai, more of the MMA stuff that I actually like doing in person, and showcase myself, you know. And every time I'm in there with Shingo, I love that. Every time I'm in there with Sonata, I love that, you know. But yeah, I just love being able to present myself as myself, not this image of what people want me to be. These senpais all wanting me to be, etc., etc.
Yeah, I totally love that you finally came into being yourself. Sometimes when I watch your matches, I'm like, damn, the way you like sometimes throw the jab or whatever, you could like feel that power behind it or the kick or whatever. I'm just like, yo, those little things in wrestling and in matches like make me pop. So like, I'm more of the ground-based technical style fighting. Flips are okay, but if there's psychology mixed in with like the technical stuff, then that gets me a pop. But I like technical.
I hate
Um,
watching flips. I know Ospreay's my boy, but he doesn't just stick to flips. He does everything. I don't like flips. I love strong style. I like two strong, tough guys throwing meat. That's what I love. Um,
I
yeah, I
think I
don't,
should name this to throwing meat.
meat, meat, elbows.
I know, dude. It's phrasing, phrasing,
Yeah,
dude.
it's the style I liked when I was
Hmm.
growing up. When I was a kid. When I was in high school, I used to like the guys like Nagata, the guys like Suzuki,
Hmm.
just the guys that like have a basis in true martial arts, true wrestling, amateur wrestling, Greco submission wrestling, and stuff like that. Which I'd like. This everyone liked this image of some wild man, wild Māori man, but
Hmm.
I love ground submission fighting and I love striking. That's day to day. I train Muay Thai and MMA quite often. Like whenever I have spare time, that's what I do. So bringing that to the matches, I think, especially more entertaining. It's more fun for me, and I think it's more entertaining for the crowd.
Yeah, definitely. So aside from that, coming up June 26th, we have the AEW and like ex New Japan partnership for Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
How did you find out about the Forbidden Door?
Twitter.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Yeah, there was something that I got contacted for before I saw the announcement.
Hmm.
I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay. Totally okay. Totally all right, man.
But then I definitely 100% I didn't know about the Forbidden Door until it was announced on Twitter. As I
Mm.
said, I find most of my wrestling news from you guys tagging me. I'm sort of like Juice and Zach, so I don't really hang around Twitter and I don't post that much. I'm more a guy that just retweets all the United
Yeah.
Empires. But
Yeah. Everyone has to ask this question. So like everyone that's, hearing about the Forbidden Door, is there a particular wrestler you want to face, or is there a particular match, whether it's singles or tag, you want to have at the Forbidden Door?
yeah, there's one guy, Mito. I don't know if he's been announced for anything, but man, Rusev Mito, I love that guy. He's someone I've been watching since I was younger as well. Just everything that he brings, he's the power and striking, wrestling power and striking. Those are my favorite people, and he's someone that I look up to as a wrestler, as a performer, and as a guy. The guy's like super
Hmm.
masculine, classically masculine, but still quite like respectable. He doesn't mess around too much. He doesn't buy into all the political stuff, but he's a good dude.
Yeah.
From my
Um, I wouldn't mind seeing that Hinari versus Miro. That'd be interesting. Are do you enjoy singles matches or tag matches more?
I love singles matches more, but the New Japan just doesn't give me them very often.
Okay.
When I do get a singles matches, I always deliver. I always do my
Hmm.
best. But yeah, I just haven't had the opportunities to present themselves as much. I know it's not the times that they have offered me these opportunities. I've either been injured or lockdown or something. So I know it's just the universe. Chill, man. Wait. Wait. That's the type of guy I am. I'm not trying to justify
Hmm.
not doing good. It's just it is what it is, sort of thing.
I get that. So I should say that last, was it Saturday, the 22nd? You
Mm.
went over to York Hall for your debut over there in the UK,
Yeah,
against I can't remember the dude's name,
Ricky
but
Knight.
okay. So yeah, how'd you feel about that? Because you finally was able to go back to the UK for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the schedule, I sent you my sleeping schedule. It sucked.
Yes.
So I had 1 hour sleep every day that week. So it was
Shit.
pretty rough. The match itself was cool, man. He brought it, smashed it. As you could see,
Yeah.
he broke his nose, which is the first broken nose I've had in a few years. I've had four altogether, and this was one of them. But no, it was fun, man. He is actually from I don't know the politically correct term. I don't know if pikey is an offensive term in America. But
I
have you
wouldn't
seen
know.
Snatch, the movie Snatch?
Yeah.
The Brad Pitt's family,
Yeah.
that's the kind of family he's from.
Oh.
You might know his auntie. Her name is Paige.
Oh, wait, are we talking
Yeah,
the wrestler or are we talking the actor? Like, what we're doing?
the
Wrestler?
wrestler. He's from the Knight family, which is Paige's family.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it
Okay.
was but it was like super hot. I was in the match. I was like, wow, this is like a sauna in here. So I wish it wasn't so hot. Then we could have went a bit harder. But it was fun. It was fun. And then I got to see the Aussie boys in their natural habitat. So I've
Yeah.
only seen in America at this point, but it was good to finally see them tear it down. Which people in the UK saying it was the best tag match in the UK ever.
Mm. Yeah. On my live streams, I tend to watch wrestler matches that my buddies are like, hey, check this person out, check that person out. And Aussie Open was definitely like a recommendation. And I was like, yep, I am really liking them as a tag team, and I can't wait for them to like showcase their stuff in like World Tag League and stuff. So yeah, they're really good addition to United Empire.
Good. They're nice boys too. And it's cool having like everyone from different countries as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then people like the Aussie boys. The people that when I'm speaking with American guys, I have to change the way I speak so they can understand it. But you're from the Commonwealth, we all speak the same language. It's all the same cultural. Everyone understands sarcasm. When I say something sarcastic, American guy, he always takes it literally, and then he gets offended, angry at me. But when there's an English guy and two Aussies, I could just talk how we talk normally, and they'll get it.
That seems pretty like legit anyway, because Americans get offended over the tiniest of things, and sometimes it's not even sarcasm. So it's like, all right, yeah, why are you offended for? Like, I get it, I totally get it. But I'm not a wrestler per se, even though I had like 3 days of training after I left WWE, and like
Really?
I just stopped. Yeah. I just like running the ropes. My bumps suck, right? So I only bring this up because I sort of want to be part of the United Empire, and you could fill that Puerto Rican side, because you don't have to fill the Italian side. You got Akira Francesco. So I'm like, yo, like I could be like the Italian one, just be a cheerleader for you guys.
I don't know if there's any girls here. I know Will's been watching quite a few girls around the world. It's been something he's been talking about since
Yeah.
we started. But I don't know where he's at with that. I haven't actually watched. I mean, the only girls match I watched was the girls match last weekend at the show. I've got Kylie Ray and Alex Windsor, I think her name is,
Are
at
you
the red.
oh yeah, I would have to probably like look that up, but I
But
I
yeah, that
know
was this.
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Other than that, like I don't really because there's no girls wrestling matches in New Japan, so I can't just
Yeah.
watch the match. And I'd rather watch a match live than watch it on my phone because there's just that, as a wrestling fan, there's that something, the extra frequency in the air that you don't get
Mm-hmm.
from watching. So I prefer to watch matches live.
Yeah, I wish I could travel a little bit more to like, cover wrestling and like support like all, my buddies and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
whatnot. I sort of miss doing that shit. But yeah, I do that from time to time. Um, but yeah, I could be like the unofficial cheerleader that fills in the Puerto Rican spot. That's about it.
And more sisters in the business, the better.
Yeah. All right. So then, I want to talk about you coming, here to America for a bit and like having fun. Because when that got announced, man, again, I use wrestling terminology no matter what. I marked out. I was so happy that you finally got over here to the States. Of course, it has to be in like Cali and other places. I can't fucking travel and shit. But if you came here into New York, I would definitely fucking hang out with you, show you the sites, and go visit Coney Island and stuff like that. I would do that for you. And also, I'll cook for you too if you want me to. I'm just saying.
Hey, y'all know how to cook.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say that. Well, because I'm Puerto Rican Italian, I can like cook you a pork shoulder plus like lasagna like from scratch. So I'm good.
Lasagna's okay. Pork though.
Oh, all right. So then chicken.
Just kidding.
Man. So I think Windy City Riot was before Capitol Collision. I enjoyed Windy City Riot, except for Will Ospreay getting fucked over by Jon Moxley. And I don't really like how that fucking happened. But I did enjoy you with United Empire taking on Bullet Club. That was a really fun match. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I definitely want to see you versus Hikuleo a lot more. So what was your first thoughts, feelings, the crowd, the excitement? Walk us through it.
I think the biggest highlight for that match was actually being in the ring with Hikuleo again. Because I don't know if you know, but we used to train together in New Zealand. So we came to New Zealand. Fale Dojo. We were there for a month each before I went back to New Zealand. And we actually he had his first singles match with me in my hometown. So that was the most emotional side of it, just seeing the bro again. I honestly thought he'd leave Bullet Club by now. That's not me just trying to entertaining. Like I thought he'd be with his bros. Tongans, Islanders, even Puerto Ricans probably were all about family. It's that island culture, family. So it was super surprising to me that he's still with Jay. But it was pretty buzzy. The crowd was hot as hell. As you know, the crowd in Japan aren't allowed to chant, yell anymore, and it's been like that since 2020. And it's just the crowd in Chicago was just like, wow, this is what it feels like. I forgot what it feels like to have the crowd yell. So that was another sensory input that you don't get here in Japan. So it was just fire. Everything from top to bottom, start to finish, was just like energetic, packed. It was great.
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed it too. I saw how much fun you guys had, and I think either after the show or a couple of days after the show, somebody put it up on Twitter that you guys went to an Ihop. How was that experience?
Ihop was great, although I'm still recovering from the weight that I gained from that week. The first time I went there in 2016, I went to Florida, so I gained like 5 kilos in 2 weeks. 5 kilos, like 10 pounds, I think.
Yeah, because American school system like fucks us over. Like I don't know what that is.
Imperial system, but yeah. No, Ihop's great, but got to get back to the dieting because with all the travel back and forth for the last 2 months, I haven't been in one place longer than 3 days for the last 2 months. My diet's been off, my sleeping's been off, so my body's sort of like softened up quite a bit. In Japan, I was just drinking this. This isn't soda. This is pre-workout. So got to get back to it.
But the pre-workout is clear, right?
No. It's what is it? It's a Nitroflex. So
okay.
Audio flavored.
Oh, okay. So what exactly is your diet, and how do you maintain that when you're in Japan?
Japan's great. Because everything's the food, especially high quality, healthy food, is quite cheap compared to other parts of the world, and especially in New Zealand. It's like meat is like super expensive in New Zealand just because the quality is so high, but in Japan it's quite cheap to eat quite healthily. And then you could go to Yukaku, which is an all-you-can-eat meat buffet for $30. So $30 a day, all the meat you could eat. So perfect for wrestlers.
So I'm guessing you're.
That's right,
man. So I'm guessing that your diet is just mainly high protein, then, right?
chicken beef mainly, and sweet potato. We call it kumara in New Zealand. So that's our main carb source.
Cool. Yeah, my brain is trying to process the word that you call it in New Zealand.
Kumara, kumara. It's funny
What?
because there's a. This is where I'm going to show my proper nerd stuff.
Go ahead.
The name is actually from South America. So what Westerners don't understand is that Pacific Islanders were traveling from Taiwan in the east to South America in the west and all around the Pacific. So with our history actually tells us that we've been traveling around there for thousands of years. But Western history says that's not true because how can these brown people be that smart? But hey, that's another.
Yeah, man. That's definitely like another podcast if you want that to be. So Capital Collision also happened too. And yeah, you were in a tag match. Did you have the same feeling as like Windy City Riot? Did anything different change or like, what did you think
Kind
about
of.
that one?
That match is when I started trying to bring more. So different things. So I got a new tidal wave kick that I tried out on the Capital Collision tour, which was pretty cool. Crowd came up for it, and then seeing the TMDK boys. So they were still banging when I first started wrestling. So it was pretty cool to be in there. They're from Aussie as well, so like I get it. Mikey Nichols as well. He's been waiting to come back since the start of the pandemic, so it was real cool to be in there with him and Shane and. Tito as well is a good dude who we wrestled again on the Philadelphia show. It was real fun, man. And so the Capital Collision crowd was on fire even more than the Chicago crowd.
Oh,
It was great.
yeah. I mean, I enjoy both, so yeah, I could see that. So what did you enjoy about Philly, other than the cheesesteaks?
The arena was real cool. Just the history of being at that
Yeah.
ECW place. Not only that, I enjoyed dropping Tito on his head and getting my first pinfall victory in the US. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. It doesn't
you
air
can.
yet.
Oh, well, I mean, it gets there. Like New Japan has this weird thing of like just picking different times to show stuff. I'm like, oh my God, just show it to us, just show it to us.
Yeah.
Do you, I know that, yeah, your 6-man tag, for New Japan Strong Mutiny, is, I think it already passed on, New Japan World.
Sorry,
I've been,
forgot about that win. So the reason why I forgot about that is because we had Budokan. Straight after that was a flight. Then we landed, and the match happened like 2 hours after we landed. So I had no sleep. That's why I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Jesus,
that was my second life of a
dude,
wrestler.
yeah, man. It's totally okay. I totally get that. Damn, that's like a short amount of time just to like get in there and what you got to do and stuff. But I was originally gonna ask you if like, do you enjoy being on like New Japan Strong, or like do you like want to stay with like New Japan main roster? We're gonna call it main roster.
Roster. Nothing can replace the main roster of New Japan. There's just a different type of like. I don't know if discipline's the word or vibe is the word. It's something different that you can't get in the UK, you can't get in the USA, you can't get in New Zealand or Australia. It's just different. It's just that extra level of professionalism, I think, that's there. I don't know whether it's the Japanese culture or whether it's just how good New Japan is, but nothing can replace the main unit of New Japan. Although the Strong crew is amazing, the locker rooms, like the energy in the locker rooms, you could tell everyone's just there to put on the best show they possibly can. Which New Japan, the main show, is like that outside of a pandemic. When you get dropped on your head and the crowd's just like, there's like a certain, it hits you in a certain way, But once the crowd's left, man, it's all over. We're back.
Would you ever want to go after the New Japan Strong title?
Yeah, so I think I don't want to say a spoiler so I won't say that one, but Lawler, I was a huge fan of Lawler, not from pro wrestling. So that fought Chris Weidman. I don't know if you know who Chris Weidman is, but those guys have been like as fighters, I respect the hell out of them as well. And just meeting him at the LA, I was like, oh man, it's Tom Lawler, which is not many wrestlers are fans of UFC, proper old school fans, but I am. And I was like, oh shit, it's this guy. Yeah. So if you got, do you know any of the UFC roster at all?
I used to be a fan of Chuck Liddell. He's the only one that pops into my head at the moment, but I used to watch UFC back in the day when it was good and I was following it, and then I just fell off.
Yeah. Well, I'm a not so much a huge fan, but like a lot of my bros from New Zealand are now full-time UFC fighters, and she's Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion. We're from the same place. We trained together before I went to the dojo. So just seeing those guys come up together, I'm like, wow, these guys are bros.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're able to be catching, Best of the Super Juniors, but TJP is doing very well, especially being in the corner of Akira Francesco, and Akira is also doing well too.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for Akira, because he's brand new into United Empire, and he's brand new into New Japan Pro Wrestling?
He's, if you know Akira, you know he's like a straight guy. He's like a real good dude, real good heart. I actually met him just before the pandemic. So the one day before the pandemic, I met him in a club in Shinjuku, and then we kept the whole time. And then he came to Japan. I was like, hey, it's this guy. So yeah, he's a real good dude, real good. He was All Japan Junior champion, I believe. So I don't think there's much advice I could give to a cruiserweight, but he's a good guy. He fits in real well. I've taken him out to dinner quite a few times and took him out for a haircut. Now he's got the best barber in the world. Well, the thing that I like about United Empire is that we're all a team, yeah, but we're all our own person as well. So we're from each other. We're all from different countries. We all bring something different to the table. I think a big mistake that other people make is that it's just the same guys doing the same things, but we're distinctive. United Empire is distinctive from each other, other teams.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. That's why, I guess I can say advocate so hard for United Empire and putting you guys over every single chance that I get over on Twitter. Just because I think it fits so well that you guys can lean on each other for like support. And it won't necessarily be like, oh, they're there for cheating. And it's like, no, they're there for support. They're there to like make sure that like their guy doesn't really lose, but they're not really going to get in there. They all have their own individual styles, their own individual like ideologies, and like it's not like stepping on anyone's toes. It's definitely refreshing. Because even though that I'm a Bullet Club girl as well, but sometimes Bullet Club could get on my nerves to be like, all right, it's a little too overwhelming. But at least the United Empire is like freaking refreshing and stuff like that. But yeah, me and you could talk about this all day, that we could like get into like other things too. But I think that this was fucking fantastic.
Thank you.
I do forgive you for like sleeping in, but it's okay. Like I said, I'm so used to working with other wrestlers behind the scenes that wrestlers do what they want to do. So I'm used to it. I'm gonna give you the floor. You can plug in whatever you want to do. If I could do this right, because I think I could do this right, but you can plug in whatever you want. The floor is yours, Henare.
No, just follow me on Henare NZ on all my social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. I do the same, but I don't really post on Facebook that much. But thank you everyone for supporting. This is only the start. I mean, I'm only 29. This is the start of my career. So keep in touch and keep following, and then you'll see. Bring it real. Keeping wrestling real. Let's go.
All right, it's a good thing I turned my mic back on, because again, it's gonna be like streamer problems. Like, I was muted. I was like, oh fuck. But yeah, this basically concludes this little mini podcast. I really, really enjoy, and I really love that you decided to give me the chance to like have you, talk about wrestling and stuff. I really do enjoy your work. Like 1000%. Like I really do. I really do hope that you get the Never Championship title. Unfortunately, it may have to be off of Tama. I don't know, but I'm just saying, hopefully you do get that belt. Hopefully New Japan like gives you more matches. Have you come out to the States, just be the guy. But I had a tremendous fucking time, dude. This is
Thank you
fantastic.
for being late, but yeah, I'll get it. There's only so much that luck can hold me back from. So you see, and I'll remember you supporting me even when I was nobody. So.
Yeah, man, I got you no matter what. I say this to all my wrestling buddies. I got them, they know it. But yeah, again, I am Marie Shadows. Follow me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows. Thank you for coming into this twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows to see this live. To see the recorded version is going to be over on my Substack. So stay tuned to my socials over on Twitter to know when to see the actual full video. To everyone in the chat, thank you so much for being here too. This is the end of the stream. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.